Yeah. Uh-oh. Going for a broken string. Nice. I think we have to change it now. That's what happens when the strings come unwound. Yeah. We're going without that string. So we're going to try this one more time. I recorded this earlier and didn't press record on Pro Tools. So, alrighty. So you saw this first clip, was trying to use my Les Paul, and that thing just, you know, the strings, I don't know if it's the brand of strings. I'm using D'Addario or D'Addario. They pronounce it both ways. But they always come unwound at the bottom here, so that was kind of frustrating. So time for a string change. It's been a while, so I've got my trusty 120th anniversary Explorer in the wine red, and I got this at George's Music actually in Jacksonville, and they shipped it from Jacksonville to Orlando, which is what I'm closer to. And funny because, you know, my first experience with an Explorer, and I hadn't even bought it yet, and I smacked it on one of the displays. So put a nice big chunk in there. So I had to buy it basically. Anyway, so two things I wanted to do. I wanted to play a little bit, talk a little bit about some things, and I've got this new camera here that I had to get for my work. So we all have to kind of dig in and learn this. It's a Canon xf405. Yeah, there's a 400 and a 405. The 405 just has an SDI port on it and an HDMI port. The xf400 just has HDMI. Got a little LED light on the shoe up there, so that's giving me something at least, and a nice cool Sennheiser shotgun, so everything's running into the board back here. But anyway, so I ended up pulling the trigger on an xf405. It was used on Reverb. They had been pretty guys were selling them for, you know, or trying to sell them for $3,300 and on up, which a lot of us on the YouTube or the Facebook groups were pretty confused about that. I posted a couple times that it just didn't make sense, but I know that there was that initially the wait list, and then it was, hey, you know, skip the wait list and you can have it for $3,500, which I don't know, but yeah, I guess that's what Fractal does. And I'm coming from the Helix world because I had a Helix, traded it a few weeks ago. I'd say a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, for this X8. It was one of those spur of the moment things. I was like, well, you know, something new. I get to try Fractal, and I figured if all else fails later on and I don't like it, I'll sell it and I can get the Helix back. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the reasons why I chose that over maybe like say a used XFX2, because it was a thought. I looked, I said, man, I can really get into that, into the a little bit more processing power. Sound wise, I know it's the same, but I was really looking for that flexibility and really looking for that raw processing power to do some different things in the studio here. I don't play out live as much anymore. If I do, I'll just use the X8 here, and that it's more than adequate, and it's easy, and the floorboard's already there. XFX3 doesn't have the floorboard yet, which is one reason I'm not going to even try to even take it out. But I've got a Roland V-drum kit over here, a TD25KV. I've got these Behringer P16 personal mixers for everybody. The room is pretty small, so it gets pretty cramped, but I really wanted to have rehearsals in here, all with in-ears, and everything runs through that X32 you see in the back, and it really makes for a nice, clean environment, and of course you can kind of do it in a house environment, right? The only problem is not even the drums, even though that sounds like a marching band, not tin can, but beating on like buckets, right? When you don't have the in-ears on, vocals can get a little bit loud. So that's the only one. It sounds like somebody screaming in the house. But back to the XFX3, I really wanted to start experimenting with some, running a couple guitars into that, or maybe just a guitar and a bass into that, because it's got enough power to run those. And also started experimenting more with the MIDI switching capabilities of switching presets and scenes within, from my DAW, which is Pro Tools. And I have to relearn it every time. I did it with the Helix for a little bit, and then I had to go and dig on. There's only a couple videos that really show it, so I think I really need to kind of do an in-depth video on how to switch. I can't really compete with these other guys like Leon and is it Carmelo or Carmi? I forgot his name. I can't pronounce his name, but he's real good. Sonic Drive Studios. I know I'm missing some other ones. I've done some cool things on the XFX. I think Leon has just done obviously the most. That guy's on fire, putting out a video or two every day. I guess when you do it all the time, or that's all you do is YouTube videos and play out and teach, you have that kind of time. And he's got a wealth of knowledge. The guy really understands all this stuff. So can't really compete on that front, but I can kind of fill those gaps that maybe others have been asking about. Maybe there's a little niche that, like the MIDI switching capabilities, that may come in handy. So final thing, I think I'm done with the XFX 3 is more about future proofing, and that's the buzzword everybody's using, I guess, for it. Is that every time they put out new firmware updates, it's gonna maybe release a new feature. I think we all hope for that, just like they did with the XFX 2, and once they release that, it's gonna require more processing power, and so. It wasn't about the now, because I think that really all of them sound pretty much the same. There was a video I heard out there where I could tell the differences, but it's hard to tell if it was just an EQ or more gain. The guy that did the video said that it does feel a little differently. It's all subjective. So we'll see when it gets here next week, and I'll have some time to mess with it and do a couple of videos. But coming up here next Saturday, I've got a project that I work with called Metal Church. Yes, Metal Church. Everybody says that doesn't even sound like it goes together. Well, it's an outreach, and we play a lot of tunes that we all grew up in and had our influences with, and we, change the lyrics. I don't, because I'm terrible at lyrics, and try our best not to make them cheesy. Sometimes we laugh when we get the lyrics back rewritten, but they put them up on a projector, and a lot of people come to these things that wouldn't have stepped foot into that environment, and it's just like this no judgment environment. It's really positive, and people come and have a good time, and they get to hear music that they grew up with listening to. So it's not for everybody, and man, we do get some comments for sure on it, but I like it. So for that one, we've got about 8 or 9. It's like a 2-year anniversary. We've been doing this for a couple of years. And so there's several tunings, I think. So I've been messing with the pitch block on the XFX on the X8. So, you know, for example, you got one tune. This guitar is tuned to E flat now. This is Rainbow in the Dark, and it is tuned. Is it 2 steps down? It's the Corey Taylor version. Maybe 1.5 steps. Now the funny part is this guitar is tuned to E flat. I can still hear it ringing out, and then of course, you know, when you play it, and everybody who's used a pitch block has experienced this, but it's just terrible. So I'm going to try not to cringe when I play it. When you tune down on the pitch block, it tends to get things a little muddy. Not only that, and of course you got the latency that kind of drives me crazy about that. But hey, for this kind of stuff, you get up there, you play, you do the best you can, and it sure beats having to change guitars around. I'll do Sad But True, which is same tuning as far as standard tuning, but dropped down. So it's not really standard tuning. It's a whole step down. Right, and this is 5150, the blue channel, 5153, sorry, blue channel, and I've got I forgot what drive pedal I put in front of that. And so the cool part about this song, and thank God we have two guitar players, is that it's got this ambient part. There's that one, and there's actually a so 2 guitars doing that, and if you have just that one guitar which is going, so you have one guitar doing that. We did it without 2, and man, it was empty. Another cool one we're doing is Indestructible. Even if you don't like Disturbed, it's a real fun song to play. I think I messed up there. The tuning is really throwing me off because I can hear the open guitar. And then it's, you know. I just played the wrong chord. And then. Anyway, that's there's other tunes, but I don't want to bore you with that. So if you enjoy watching these and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications. Leave me a comment if you want to, and we'll see you later.